and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're joined by entrepreneur, investor, New York Times best-selling author, and so much more. Dean Graziosi. Dean, thank you so much for joining us on The Right View. You're a bit of a recognizable name in personal growth and entrepreneurship, but you know, that kind of success doesn't just happen. It doesn't happen overnight. So for people out there who are saying, like, how do you get to where you are today and all the things that you've done? Take us back to the beginning. How did you kind of beat the odds, so to speak, and really become kind of a picture of the American dream?
Yeah, well, great. First of all, it's awesome to be here with you, Laura.
Thank you.
Think about the American dream. What is it? You know, probably in my lifetime, it's evolved. At this phase of my life, I believe the American dream, no matter where you live in the world, the American dream is still that same essence. And I think it's living into who you know you're meant to be rather than maybe who you're settling to be or who the world has designed you to be. And I think if we look at it that way, then I think the one thing every single one of us has in common right now is that we know we're meant for more. There's another level of joy, another level of impact, another level of contribution, love, income, whatever it is. We know we have another level, but sometimes we feel stuck. Secondly, I truly believe that when the outside world is a little chaotic, it invokes the emotions to play small, kind of to sit on our hands, right? If we're a little concerned about the future, then maybe starting your own business or going after that entrepreneurial dream, you stop because you want to see where things are going. And that might be the worst thing you can do because I think that's when the most opportunity is available. And secondly, I won't get into my story other than saying, and if you write anything down, write this down. Let the why become before the how. Before you try to figure out how do I live into my full potential? How do I start the business, scale the business, take my business to the next level? Man, life is too crazy not to have a big why because you're going to get kicked in the teeth. You're going to fall down. People are going to let you down. Partners are going to let you down. The world is going to change, right? So if I think back, I could summarize it with this. When I was really young, my parents split when I was 3. They got married multiple times. Money was, there was lack of money in our home. I'll just put it that way. I've gone to school without lunch money when I was a kid and told my friends I just wasn't hungry. But if I look, I remember, I don't know, Laura, if I was 7, 10, 14, I remember thinking, I need to retire my mom. She worked 3 jobs to make nothing. And that drive is the reason I started cutting firewood in high school and started fixing wrecked cars and bought my first apartment house at 17 with no money down. When I look, the how came second. Taking care of my mom so she didn't work till 10 o'clock at night. And I could tell she would never complain and being selfless as possible. But she missed everything, Laura. And my kids are never going to have to experience that because she did. And she was also that spark. So I think the first step is as crazy as the outside world gets, you need something so strong that when you feel imposter syndrome, people tell you you're crazy. When you fail the first 7 times, you go back to it and go, I need to do it because.
Wow. It's so true. By the way, the imposter syndrome, it's so funny you bring that up. I've heard that term from so many people. Can you explain what that is, by the way?
Yeah, it's really just fear. It's been around forever. We just gave it a new name, right? Like, you know, if you've been in a career for 20 years that doesn't fill your soul, you know you're just putting in the time. You should be grateful for the job, but you're not because you know you're meant to do this other thing. When you go to step out of that career mindset into doing your own thing, well, the fear of that's been around forever, Laura. We just happen to call it imposter syndrome now. But of course you're afraid. It's something different. It's something you've never experienced before. So it's, I mean, getting married for the first time, having a baby for the first time. All those things are scary when you start, but on the other side of them, you get to live into that person you're meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 things that you said in sort of your answer to my first question that I want to touch on. You said, you know, oftentimes when people are just before they're going to achieve whatever it is, they sort of give up. And it takes me back to a commencement speech. I'm not sure where, but a commencement speech that my father-in-law gave way back when Donald Trump had nothing to do with politics. He was just this businessman who had, you know, changed the skyline of New York City, done so much that people, you know, looked up to him for, etc. And he said, I never give up. I have seen some of the toughest people in business, the greatest people in their industry, not achieve their dream because they gave up. They were like moments before they were going to achieve whatever it was. They gave up. That, I think, it's such a good thing for so many of us to reflect on, because I think, you know, those moments when it does get tough, those are the ones you learn the most. Those are the ones where your character changes. And if you can just go through it, the difference, I've heard this too somewhere, the difference between people who are successful and not successful are that the successful people are willing to take those moments that are tough, where it hurts, where it sucks, where you say, I want to give up, but they don't give up. And I feel like for a lot of us, we should be reminded of that regularly.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just talk through my own experience.
Yeah.
The times that I thought you aren't good enough, you didn't come from the best background, you didn't go to the right college, I didn't go to college at all. The moments that I was about to give up and said, let me try one more time.
Yeah.
It honestly was on the other side of that. And what if, and these are my beliefs, Laura, you could take them as you want, but what if God, right? Or whatever your beliefs are, if you're listening right now, you could call it a success auditor. But what if God put you on a journey that you have to prove you're worthy of that next level? What if it's like, hey, I'm sorry that she's got to go through that, but it's going to be 6 failures before you reach that full potential of yours. And if you quit at 4, great. You can go back into a life that maybe you're meant for. But I always believe that what if, you know, the journey, the prize isn't at the beginning of the journey. The prize is at the end of the journey. And sometimes you don't know how long the journey is.
Yeah.
And I think if you just look at it through, instead of saying, I can't believe all these obstacles are in my way, what if it's like, what if these obstacles are in my way to craft this woman or this man that I'm meant to be?
Which
And I
I
can't
agree
be
with.
hard enough. I can't be strong enough unless God puts those in my way. And whether it's true or not, if you believe it, it just changes the reason for it all.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you said that I think resonated with me, because I experienced it, Dean, over the past year. A year ago, I was the co-chair of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And we had this mammoth election ahead of us. We had this, it almost felt insurmountable, the task that lay ahead of us.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
I could only imagine.
But what you said, I think, is something that I felt, which is, you said, you know, you were inspired to kind of be successful and do what you did for your mom, for something that was bigger than you. And for me, and I think for so many people out there, whenever whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you feel is bigger than you. For me, it was the election. I felt like the future of the country was dependent upon a lot that I did. And so when the goal is so much bigger than you, it's almost easy to say, well, yeah, I'm going to put in extra work. Yeah, I'm going to put in extra time, right? But I feel like that is a common theme also that something that I subscribe to, and I feel like sometimes can help people maybe get to that next level. Like maybe the goal is bigger than you. Maybe it's for your family. Maybe it's, you know, whatever the goal might be. If it's bigger than you, I think it's easier to work harder. That's just my opinion.
For sure. And it shifts. Like I went all the way back to a kid of saying it was my mom watching her work so hard to have nothing. And she couldn't join us for dinner a lot of nights. And I was like, as a kid, I remember saying, I'm going to make money so she can be home to eat with us. I remember just thinking that, right?
Wow.
But at 25 years old, I retired my mom. At 27, I retired my dad. They're both still with me. I still both send them a check every week, bought their houses, bought their cars. But once that was gone, Laura, what I realized is I had to replace that bigger vision with something else. So next it was maybe impacting other people. Now, the last decade of my life, my best friend and partner, Tony Robbins, that guy gets under your skin on how many more people in the world can we impact? How many more people can we help? So now I wake up every day. I feel blessed. I don't have to work another day in my life. Neither does Tony. And we work like maniacs because there's way more people in the world that need us. That we're in a place where the media, and you know this more than anybody, is so divisive. It pulls us apart. We have a desire to bring people together. When you think the world is going to hell in a handbasket, you realize maybe this is the greatest time ever to start a business, to do your own thing. So now it's not my mom anymore, but Tony reminds me every day, we have a lot more lives to impact before we leave this earth. So it's another sense of urgency of what more can we do, right? So I just think we all need that compelling future to be 5 steps in front of us all the time, pulling us rather than pushing us.
It certainly inspires. I felt that firsthand. You know, something else that strikes me is that there's been almost a lack of courage to be yourself, to speak your mind, to go out and say what you feel. I kind of feel like, Dean, the tide is starting to turn a little bit.
So do I.
Yeah, but how people out there who might be listening to this or watching this and they're still kind of on the fence, what do you say to people to kind of give them that strength, give them that resilience, the inner strength to stand firm in their views and their values and feel like they have the ability to speak about it? We live in a time where speaking the truth often comes with a cost, but silence has a cost too, and it's one we can't afford. Live Not by Lies is a powerful new docuseries that shines a light on how soft totalitarianism is gaining ground in America. Based on the best-selling book by Rod Dreher, the series shares real stories from men and women who lived under brutal communist regimes. They know what it's like to lose freedom, and they see it happening in the warning signs here. Through gripping personal accounts and powerful interviews, the series shows how surveillance, censorship, and ideological conformity are not things of the past. They're happening now, often disguised as progress or protection. You can stream Live Not by Lies today by joining Angel Guild. Visit angel.com/Lara to join. That's angel.com/LARA. Watch it, share it, and stand firm for faith, for family, and for freedom. America's national debt has soared past $36 trillion, but smart investors are turning to gold. During President Trump's first presidency, gold surged over 52%. This year, gold has already broken records, soaring past $2,900 an ounce, and analysts predict it could even hit $3,300 soon. Now's the time to find out more about investing in gold. Call 855-704-GOLD or visit goldgatecapital.com. You can buy gold with cash or easily add gold and silver to your IRA or 401k. And for a limited time, you could get up to $15,000 in free silver with qualified purchases. Goldgate Capital has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews. Don't wait, claim your free gold information guide today. Call 855-704-GOLD or visit goldgatecapital.com now.
Such a great question. So first off, courage. Courage isn't moving forward in the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward and you're scared to death. I guarantee when you decided what you took on in the last couple of years of your life, you had to jump out of the plane and hope you grew wings on the way down.
Yes.
Right? It's like there was no safety net and saying, all right, Laura, it's all going to be butterflies and puppies and perfect. It's like, no, I'm not sure, but I got to move forward. So if courage is moving forward, even though you're a little scared, then how do we move forward? So for me, again, I'm just going to share my personal life and the crazy stuff I do to keep moving forward. I need leverage, right? You need leverage to move forward. So a strong purpose and why is great, but you also need to find that courage. So for me, I'll use things like, you might say, I'd love to move forward, but my family will think I'm nuts. I'd love to move forward, but the world is so divided. I'd love to move forward, but inflation, I don't know if it's going to go up or down. I don't know if the stock market's going to go up or down. You can have all these reasons, but why are most companies, if you look in the Fortune 500 companies, Laura, did you know if you Google it today, out of the top 500, the majority of them, like 65%, were started in a down economy, right? So the economy, the world on the outside doesn't matter. It's how we move forward. We not sit on our hands. So for courage, I use this. If I got to the end of my life and I get to meet God or whoever your beliefs are, who your maker is, and God sat me down and played me a video of the man I could have been if I moved forward, if I took that uncomfortable action, if I said yes when I knew I should have, when I said no to the thing that wasn't serving me, when I stepped out on the ledge, when I put myself out there to be embarrassed, where I didn't let imposter syndrome stop me. Imagine playing a video of this guy or this woman you could have been.
Wow.
And then you get done watching. He's like, well, I know you played it safe, so this is your life, so you made it to heaven. Good, I'll see you next. Your only hope would be, oh my God, please let me go back. Let me be courageous. Let me be crazy. Yeah. I want you to look at the video at the end of my life and go, oh my God, Laura, you're insane. How did you take on all that, right? So I think if your only wish was, could I go back? Then I think to myself, wish granted. We're here today. We could take crazy, uncomfortable action. We could borrow it from our past courageous acts. We could realize that our next level lives on the other side of the thing we're afraid of. And we can just move forward today, because I think regret at the end of our life could weigh 1,000,000 pounds. And I'm not willing to risk that.
Wow. What a great thing to keep in the back of your mind all the time. And honestly, I kind of already operate like that to a certain level, because look, if you look at a day in my life, I am, by the end of the day, I'm like, I couldn't have squeezed one more ounce of anything out of this day.
I'm with you.
But yeah, I know. I'm sure. I know you are. I know Tony is as well. But that's what makes me happy. That's what I love. I don't like down.
And isn't it a great example for your family and your kid?
Well, I hope so. I'll let you know in about 15 years how.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Goes.
I think it is.
But I think about that moment where at the end of your life, you know, I like to be at the end of the day exhausted because I've done so much, I've packed so much in, but that's how I want to feel at the end of my life as well. And, you know, you talk about putting yourself out there when you don't know how people will receive it. If you may be embarrassed or something. Dean, I have released music. I have put my voice out there. Talk about knowing people are going to make fun of you. I am well aware of all of that, but it's one of those things where I was like, you know what? I have this opportunity, so why wouldn't I do this? I don't want to look back one day and say, oh, I was too scared somebody would say something negative about me behind a screen. I'm not living that life. I'm going and doing whatever it is I want. And I'm going to be proud of the things because I put 100% of myself in everything. So you have to go out there and you have to realize that. And I think we got a quick lesson in this with the Trump family. Not everybody's going to be your biggest fan. Not everybody's going to cheer you on, right? But the people who matter, the people who really know you will always have your back and always be there to, you know, be on the sideline cheering you on and be in the game with you, you know, so often.
You know what I love? I love what you said though, of not knowing. You know, sometimes you just need a bunch of tools in the head in this crazy mind of ours, right? We're all a part of the human condition, right? The outside world affects us. You can't help it. You watch one news, you're like, right? Yeah. But I became friends with Matthew McConaughey after I read his book, Green Lights. I left him a compliment and we ended up doing a big 2 million person event together. And he's still a dear friend. And he makes it light. He's like one of the coolest dudes. If you never read Green Lights, it's a great book. But he said his biggest thing is just the fear of not knowing. He makes it light. He goes, I just don't know. What if I don't say yes to that? Like I won't sleep for 3 months saying, I don't know what it's like to try that thing I've never tried before or do that thing. He goes, I can't live with it, so I just do it. So sometimes it might be deep, like the end of my life. Could be my mom. Other times I'm just like, man, I'm going to feel like crap if I don't know. I'm just going to do it. You know?
Totally. I love that. It's so true. You know, you talked a few minutes ago about kind of like, even when things are crazy, maybe it's a good time to start a business, to try something new. You're talking about, you know, how 65% of these Fortune 500 companies are started in a down economy. I would say over the next 4 years, we're going to see our economy skyrocket. Just a prediction out there. What do you say to people? Is right now, Dean, a good time for people to kind of maybe go out and do something like starting a new business?
Yeah, so you're talking to somebody whose whole life is that. You know, again, Tony Robbins is my partner. I mean, we talk every single day of our lives. And we own a company. We co-founded a company, mastermind.com, to help people see that in our world, we believe the greatest asset you own is your life experience. So we teach people how to start their own business by sharing their experience. I mean, you could go, if you want to start a new business, you go out and figure out how to do it on your own. Or you could model proven practices, model someone who's already been in it. So for us, and we're doing a big event, I'd love to share that with your audience, invite everybody for free here in a moment. But why I think now is the greatest time. See, we can look at AI as the thing that's going to ruin our life, or the innovation that can exponentially grow our life. We can look at technology as taking things over or a way to do things easier. We can look of modeling proven practices of saying, who's already done what I want to do? Now that I have connection through the internet, I can model them. I could start off where they left off, or we could say there's already too many people doing it. Really, our life is determined by the questions we ask ourselves, right? If we say, hey, who am I to do this? Well, that's the answer you'll get. But if you say, who am I not to do this? Let me see what's possible. Can I use innovation as fuel? Can I use AI as the wind behind my back, not the anchor? So I'd love to invite all your viewers, if you'd love to If you like what we talked about today, myself, Tony Robbins, Matthew McConaughey, Jay Shetty, some amazing people are getting together on May 15th. We do it once a year. We should have about 800,000 people from around the world. Wow. And we'd love to invite your listeners for free. We're calling it Thrive in 2025. And over 3 days, about 3 hours a day, we show people how they could take their life experience and launch that business, launch into an industry where knowledge is the new currency. There's something everybody does that you've already experienced, you've already failed, you've already won, and somebody's starting on day one. And we show people how to be in the industry that Tony and I are in. It's become a movement. And I have a link, thrive120.com. If you guys want to join, it's absolutely free, no catch, not kind of free, totally free for you guys. And I think you'll see why now. It'll show you how to be courageous and optimistic, because now is truly the perfect time to hit go.
To chase your dream, to start a business, to do whatever it is maybe you've been putting off for so long and saying, oh, I'll get to that later. Later is never guaranteed.
It never comes.
You got to do it now. You got to strike while the iron's hot. And so thrive123.com.
It's thrive120.com.
Thrive120.com. What a generous offer. Thank you, Dean. That's so nice of you to offer that. So you, Tony Robbins, Matthew McConaughey, that's amazing. What a group. And I can't believe you're going to have that many people there as, participating in an event like this. This must be one of the biggest out there, no?
Yeah, we've done 11. We do one event a year, and they've averaged about almost 1 million people each. And you know what's amazing about it, Laura, is I know this world, we seem so divided, and I don't believe that anymore. Because when we do an event like that, and we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people live from different backgrounds, different economic backgrounds, different political backgrounds, different religions, and over 3 days, everybody comes together. We're cheering each other on. Everybody's seeing what's possible, right? Everybody's seeing that they are enough, that they know enough, and with the right guidance, they can achieve anything. And when I see that, and especially, again, being partners with Tony, we'll get off a 3-day event like that and say, see, the world's going in the right spot. We got to do this, and we got to go bigger. So that's why we're inviting everybody for free, because not only is it a chance to see you're not crazy, you're not alone, but with the right guidance, anything is possible.
I love your optimism, because I'm very optimistic right now too. Over the next 4 years, the next decade, what gives you the most hope, and what do you look forward to the most happening? Maybe as a country, maybe just culturally overall. Where do you see things going? Because I'm feeling very inspired talking to you, but I'll be honest, right now overall, in our country, just in general in the world, I feel very hopeful.
Yeah. So excuse me if I'm going to be optimistic, but I'm going to take a different route. I interviewed Jordan Peterson a couple weeks ago. I was on your side. I was interviewing Jordan, and he said, I think it's time for us to be bold enough to be optimistic. And he went on to elaborate that it's easy to be a pessimist. It's easy to see everything wrong. In today's world, you got to be bold to say things are going to get better. Right? And you're almost criticized, just, oh, look at the dreamer, look at the optimist. But here's what I know. Oil used to be the greasy stuff on the bottom of camels' hooves until innovation turned it into something else. I believe when they say the world is ending, which takes away hope from a whole generation. If you don't have a compelling future, Laura, the future doesn't. Yeah. Why should you be happy in today if you think tomorrow the environment's going to end it, the world's going to end it, war is going to end it, money's going to go to nothing? If you think of that, then of course Gen Z and the millennials are the most depressed generation in the history of America. Terrible. They're on the most antidepressants. Sorry to digress. Most antidepressants, most suicide. Why? Because I think the media has told them there's no future, when I think if we could be bold enough to be optimistic to say, you know what? Innovation will figure this out. We will get sick of being divided, and we will come together. We will find common ground in our families. We will find common ground in a God or a higher power. We will find a common ground on the things we can fight for, to be proud of where we are, where we live, and who our neighbors are. If you believe that, whether it's true or not, I'm going to choose to believe that, because it allows me to wake up on fire each day going, it might be a little tough today, but tomorrow's going to be better. So if you ask me where the world is going, I'm going to tell you, is it going to be easy? No. But isn't that when a rebirth happens? Isn't it when you go through the darkest days that the greatest days come? So I believe we went through the darkest days. I believe we're rebounding out of it. And the more we can be optimistic collectively, the faster things can change.
I love that, and I'm right there with you, my friend. Dean, right before we let you go, how can people? You gave us the website. If people want to get involved with what you guys have happening on May 15th, how can people follow you? Where can they keep up with what you have going on?
Sure. I would say at Dean Graziosi on Instagram is great. Again, thrive120.com. We'd love to invite you as our guest. It's going to be an amazing 3 days. And it's such a pleasure being on the show with you.
Oh, Dean, you've been awesome. Thanks for everything. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people who are going to be very inspired. If they're not already after this show, after May 15th, it sounds awesome. So thanks for spending a little bit of time with us today. We appreciate it. All right, to everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide. And they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.